This is a short video on the topic of reinforcement theory. Now, as you can see from the bottom right hand side of the slide, there are only 21 slides in this particular class. So it's quite a short class. It's just meant to be an introduction to the reinforcement theory. Now, reinforcement theory was put forward by E.L. Thorndike, and it's part of his law of effect. It simply looks at the relationship between behaviour and its consequences. The theory focuses on modifying an employee's on-the-job behaviour through the appropriate use of one of the following techniques, and we'll list out various techniques, and one of these will be selected to be appropriate under certain circumstances as applicable to certain employees in certain sets of circumstances. So we'll go through that list and we'll pick one of the ones coming up and we'll talk about each of them, but one of them would be selected by the employer. So it focuses on behaviour and consequences based on certain behaviour. The theory looks into reward and punishment in order to modify behaviour to meet management expectations. So it looks at the employees functioning within the organisation, looks at their behaviour, their application to the tasks that are required of them. It looks at the overall performance of the employee and decides whether the employee should be rewarded or punished. And these rewards or punishments are there to modify the behaviour of the employee in a way that meets management's expectations. Now, I said there are various approaches that we can pick up on here. In fact, there are 4 approaches that can be applied in distinguishing acceptable behaviour. So there are 4, and these will be the 4 approaches that we'll briefly look at in this session. The first one is positive reinforcement. This approach could be adopted. Here, employees are rewarded for behaving in an acceptable manner. So the employees are identified as being hard-working, applying themselves, diligent, paying due care and attention to their tasks, and they are rewarded accordingly to reinforce that behaviour. The rewards could include a pay rise or promotion or some sort of recognition. The employee knows that the management respects what they're doing and is pleased that they're behaving in the way they are. Employees will be aware that this type of behaviour is favourable and should be repeated. And the fact that they have been rewarded for this behaviour means that they are more likely to repeat good practices. They're likely to continue working hard and applying themselves and being diligent and so on. So the employee's behaviour is reinforced. There's also avoidance, which is negative reinforcement. The withdrawal or withholding of punishment until desired behaviour is achieved. So sometimes employees may be seen to not be applying the rules properly or not following instructions correctly or could have dangerous behaviour or they're not being productive. In which case there may be a punishment. The punishment could be the loss of overtime opportunities, the loss of some entitlements. But the management may withhold that punishment to see if improvements come about. So the management may withhold the punishment to try to see if the employee can rectify or change his or her behaviour in a way that's more acceptable before the punishment is implemented. And of course, if their behaviour improves, there may be no punishment. So the idea here is that behaviour is recognised as as good behaviour, in which case it's rewarded. It's positive reinforcement. It's telling the employee to continue doing good work, and they're rewarded perhaps by a pay rise or promotion or some sort of recognition. Or it could be that their behaviour is not acceptable, but instead of administering a punishment, the employee is warned about their behaviour, and if they improve it, there will be no punishment. But if they fail to improve it, there could be punishment in the form of loss of bonus possibilities, or loss of additional payments, or downgrading their particular job, or moving to another part of the organisation where perhaps the work is more onerous and less interesting, or there could be some sort of punishment, some sort of means by which the management will try to regulate the behaviour of the employees. There's also one called extinction, a form of ignoring behaviour of employees. The management simply ignores the behaviour of the employees. There is no positive or negative reinforcement. The management simply ignores the behaviour of the employees. This only applies if behaviour is temporary. Now, extinction here may mean that the employee feels very marginalised. It's as if they don't exist. The management is ignoring them. That could be construed as a type of punishment. The management are not engaging with them. If their behaviour is not dangerous to others, if they're just simply not working effectively, they're not damaging the machinery, or they're not acting in a dangerous manner, they just may be ignored. And in this way they will feel more marginalised and more alienated, and that may mean some sort of change in their behaviour. There's also punishment. The manager applies a negative consequence to unacceptable behaviour in the hope that this will prevent the behaviour recurring. So there could be out and out punishment in the form of some obvious disapproval on the part of management, which will be communicated to the employee, that the management are not happy with that particular behaviour, or the quality of the work, or the fact that the employee is not making a good effort. So it is clear that there is a punishment, and it's clear why there is a punishment. So the employee has an opportunity to change his or her behaviour to become more acceptable within the workplace. So we see there are different ways in which reinforcement theory can be applied, and there are 4 approaches that we've identified. And it's important for you to go back over these, find examples, and read up additional material about it, make your own notes, and have this as a part of the way in which organisations, your understanding of the way organisations work, to try and get the employees to move in particular directions, and to try and bring some sort of coherence to the organisation. None of these should be applied lightly, and it's important that an employee, for example, should not be punished and at the same time given a pay rise. That's contradictory. There should be consistency on the part of management also. But it's important that we understand this. It's an important contribution to our understanding the way in which organisations function. But that's all we're going to do in this short class. We're going to leave it at that. There's a reference that was consulted, and let's leave it at that and say thank you for watching.